Hey, good morning, Internet fans. It's Ryan Perry with Simple Biz Support. It is Social Media Wednesday. And as always, I have the wonderful and beautiful Sarah Giametti with ICT Marketing. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, Ryan. Welcome back from your vacation.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I was kind of bummed we weren't able to make our scheduled appointment last week. However, where I was at, it just didn't make sense to do it, unfortunately. The internet there was a little bit sketchy. But I had a great time with family back in Wisconsin and enjoyed some cheese curds, which is a Wisconsin tradition.
Very nice. Glad you had a great time.
Yeah, thank you. So we are back. It is Social Media Wednesday, and we're going to dive into a social media, I want to say account, but it's not an account, a platform that I don't think we've talked about at all, and that is Pinterest.
Yes, we haven't covered Pinterest yet. It is, I think, right now the fourth largest social media site. So it is definitely one you don't want to overlook for a business, especially since it is predominantly a women audience. If your target market is women 25 to 45, it's somewhere you really want to play in.
Right, and it's interesting. We talk about Pinterest because we didn't pre-select this, to some degree. But while I was on vacation, my Aunt Kathy, it was always Pinterest this, Pinterest that, and we actually had. She had seen something on Pinterest where you take a watermelon, put a quarter in it, and then karate chop it, and apparently it cuts the watermelon in half. And yeah, we kind of, everybody's hanging out in the garage. Some people have been drinking, but we're all kind of going, I don't think putting a quarter in a watermelon and karate chopping it's going to cut it in half. And so, because I'm a big video guy, I naturally went to YouTube. And in YouTube, what we found out is you take a quarter and you use it as a knife. So I guess if you're stuck in the woods and all you have is a watermelon and a quarter, you can play MacGyver and cut the rind of the watermelon all the way the circumference, and then you karate chop it to cut it in half. So
Good to know, though. If you're
yes,
trapped on a knife and a watermelon.
there you go. So make sure you let Tom know that too.
I will.
So today with Pinterest, now when I think of Pinterest, yes, I definitely think female targeted audience. I think wedding pictures. I think food pictures. But we're not actually going to talk about pictures in Pinterest.
We're not. We're actually going to talk about one of the most underused aspects of Pinterest, saving videos to it. Most people do automatically just go to pictures and pictures in their blogs, and yes, primarily weddings, food, kids stuff. But for businesses, you can take your YouTube and Vimeo videos and pin them to Pinterest for people to increase your engagement.
Very cool. And me being a video guy, I'm always interested on how I can spread the word of video. So any social media, especially if it's the fourth largest social media site that's out there, getting your videos up, and it really doesn't take a lot of extra time. And if you're in WordPress, one of the neat things about WordPress is a lot of times there's plugins that'll automatically post your content from your WordPress blog into your social media apps such as Twitter, Facebook. I'm not sure about Pinterest. That's not one that I've seen in the plugins, but it doesn't have to be this complicated, laborious task. I know a lot of people, when it comes to social media, there's always the big question of, oh my goodness, there's Facebook, there's Twitter, now that we got Pinterest, there's Google Plus, there's, I can't think of them, I'm drawing a blank because there's so many of them. And I think part of that discussion that business owners should have with themselves, or a social media expert like yourself, is understanding your target audience and understanding that based on your target audience, they're not necessarily on every single social media outlet. And I think in this case, if you're targeting females, then maybe Pinterest is something to take a look at if you haven't done so already.
Correct, and especially if you have a business that is image heavy. So if you're selling products, definitely you want to be on Pinterest if your target market is women. But you could also, just if you're creating things that have a lot of visual interest, so graphic designers would be great for them to be there, web designers. I mean, just about any business could figure out a way to be graphically inclined and be on Pinterest. So you do want to take a look at, and like we tell our clients, we do rank them in order of what social media sites to start. Almost all of them, we start them with Facebook because it is the king of social media and has 80 million users. However, then after that, we do take a look at what your target market is and where they are. So if your target market is predominantly men, Pinterest would not be one on your list. But if it's predominantly women and you really want to reach them, that would move up higher in the list of the group of social media sites.
Right. You know, and it's interesting. You talk about men versus women as far as your target audience. I deal with a lot of service-based businesses, and sometimes the service-based business, the female is actually the one doing the research, especially if it's a family, married couple, those type of things. It seems, you know, the lady of the house is the one that takes the action. She's the one that does the research, and then it's like, oh, honey, by the way, to make you feel good and make you look good, here's what I found. Go make some phone calls and figure out who you're going to buy. So I think, you know, understanding your audience, it's really important to really understand how people are searching and who's searching. And maybe you do get a lot of guys calling, but is it a family-related product where maybe the woman's actually doing the research?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in the family situation, the lady of the house is definitely the one primarily making the decisions, doing the research. Even if she doesn't do the executing of the sale, she's going to find what the solution is that works best for her family. So that you're absolutely right. Making sure you know not only who you're selling to, but who is doing the research, who the audience is,
Right.
will determine which platforms you rank over the others.
All right, perfect. So we're talking about video on Pinterest, but we actually haven't seen any video on Pinterest. So can you show us how this is done, or at least how it shows up in the feed on Pinterest so we know what to look for?
Absolutely. So let's go to my screen share. Handy dandy. Okay, so you should see my Pinterest screen now. I'm logged in as ICT Marketing. And the easiest way to add a video straight from Pinterest, this is the quick way to do it, is next to your name up top, you click the little plus button. And this is where you can choose to upload a picture, which I rarely recommend doing it. You should upload it from somewhere else. The second choice is add from a website. And so I click the add from the website, and you put in the link. So then I just go over to YouTube, pick the video I want, get the share link, and copy it. Come back over to Pinterest, add the link, click next. Next I'll come up with the screenshots that were saved with my video. Not great ones, but oh well. And then you just pick which one you want and you click pin it. Now I can pick what board I want it to be in. So this video is the history of my company, so I'll just do internet marketing, and then choose whether to post to Twitter or not, and then just pin it. So now it's pinned to my internet marketing board. And so right here, it's got a little, you see now it's in here for all of my followers to see, and it has the little play button, so I can play it directly from Pinterest.
All right, very cool.
Very simple way to, let's see, I'm not going to turn that off. So it's a very simple way to add, really quick and easy way to add your Vimeo and YouTube videos to Pinterest to increase your engagement and help more people see what you're putting out there.
All right, and I think the one thing that the lazy marketers, I'm going to call them, should be aware of is that whenever you're uploading anything, maybe an image, maybe text, maybe a video, is that really understand who your audience is. So Pinterest, I think, is one of those markets that is uniquely different than, say, LinkedIn, as an example. I always think of LinkedIn as a uniquely different market in the sense that you're dealing with business professionals. Therefore, the type of content and the type of verbiage that you use should be uniquely different to that audience. And I would imagine Pinterest would be the same.
Every social media site's the same. You should have a strategy, a content strategy specific for this. So it's knowing how your audience behaves on Pinterest. And it's still the 80-20 rule still applies. You want 80% other stuff. So you want to provide value with them, 20% about you, definitely limit the selling on there. It is possible to sell on Pinterest, but you really want to provide value. So the same rules apply on Pinterest as any other social media site, is providing good value to them and having a good content strategy. But yes, having it specific for Pinterest, because what you're going to put on Pinterest is vastly different than what you'll put on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn. They do all have different purposes. The people use them differently. So you want to make sure you respect that before you start pinning and spamming everything on there.
All right, and a quick tip is anytime you go into any new social media vertical, maybe Pinterest or LinkedIn or Facebook, is listen first. Listen what's going on, see what people are talking about as it relates to your business, who's getting the most pins, who's getting talked about the most, and see what it is that they're doing and try and mimic that to some degree, because that's the audience has already voted saying we like this content.
Absolutely, and feel free to follow the people you're even not necessarily your competition, but other people who are other businesses who are successful on Pinterest. Follow their board so it's easy for you to see what they're doing. Interact with them, because as you interact with them, their followers will see what you're doing and possibly link over to you. Making on Pinterest, their search function is really good. So make sure in your descriptions that you're using proper descriptions in there. You're not missing that piece of it, because the description and the name of the pin is what is going to get you to come up in random search results.
All right, very good. And we won't even get into the SEO value of pinning on the third largest social media platform out there because we're running out of time. But speaking of the third largest, let's talk about numero uno and social media, and that is Google. Although Google Plus is not the largest social media platform, it's still a Google-owned platform. So both of us highly recommend that you play on Google Plus. And you noticed something new that's trending with Google Plus.
I did. Just this week, Google rolled out that they are removing their naming restrictions, not just on Google Plus, but on YouTube as well. So you no longer have to use your real name. Now, I personally recommend that you do use your real name so that it lends authenticity to what you're doing. But the requirement is gone, and so people are going back and forth on whether this is good or not, because it adds some anonymity back to people, but it also increases the risk of, since people have anonymity, they tend to be less nice. Right. So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out.
All right. Well, we'll make sure we keep our eye on it. And this week, as far as an action challenge for business owners, since we were talking about Pinterest, as a small business owner, especially if you have a female target audience and you already have video, what do you recommend we do, Sarah?
I recommend that you actually pin your video to Pinterest. Don't do them all at once. Spread them out a little bit, but definitely play with it. Make sure you've got the right screenshot, the picture that'll actually show up on Pinterest. Create a graphic, because you can custom upload one to YouTube, so create a compelling graphic that will get people to want to click on the video, and upload a few of them to Pinterest over the week and see how it goes.
All right. And the last thing I just popped in my mind as far as video Pinterest, female audience, typically women, I think, have a desire to understand who the person is. There's more of an actual connection. They want to be connected with that other person. Video is a very powerful way to share your story, especially if you have a compelling story as to why you're in business and what you're doing. But just sharing what's going on about you, what's going on in life. What do you think about that? It's just something that popped in my head.
Totally agree, and it's not just women. People want to know who they're doing business with. If they know, like, and trust you, they will buy from you. So men or women, both ways, if they get to see you and they get to know you and see that you're a real person with real feelings and real emotions, they connect and they find a way to connect with you. So yeah, your compelling story is a great way for people to connect you to why you do business, and that changes the way that they think about you, that they'll be more inclined to buy from you than ABC company where they've never seen a human face before.
Right, right. All right, perfect. Well, Sarah, our time is up as always. I do appreciate you taking a little bit of time out of your busy work week to spend with us and our fans.
You're very welcome. I'm glad I can be here every week.
All right, wonderful. And I will see you again next Wednesday. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too. Bye, Ryan.
All right, bye.